Hi, and welcome back to Fooled by Plants. Today we're going to make something that I like to call chicken and dumpling stew. We're going to make it in the crock pot, slow cooker, like we've been making some of our other recipes. And that's just because today it's another cold day here in Pittsburgh. I just really wanted something for dinner that was going to just warm you up from the inside out. So, to get started, I have everything prepped, and this is going to be a lot easier than you think. So, before I even started any of this, I did take some pre made plant based biscuits. There's 8 of those in a container. And I cut them in quarters, roll them into misshapen balls, we'll call them, threw them on a plate, and threw them in the freezer. That's because we're going to add those after we've done the rest of this prep, and I wanted to make sure that they were frozen so that they have time to cook slowly in the slow cooker, even slower than the things around them. But to get started with our base, as you can see today, I have the little bit bigger pot than I normally use for demonstrations. That's because there's a lot of things going into this pot before we transfer it over to the slow cooker. So on high, I'm going to just tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom of my pan. And we'll get that started here. And then as that's starting to heat up, I'm going to use this product of a plant-based chicken replacement. This is brand new. I just saw it at my store for the first time the other day, and I thought, oh, we'll give it a try. I have made this same recipe with other brands of chicken replacements, and it's worked exactly the same. So I'm just a little interested to see how this brand's works out. So I already opened the package, and I have already diced this uh, chicken substitute. So our oil is getting a little bit warm here, so I am going to actually add in this chicken substitute. Even though we are going to be slow cooking this on high for over 4 hours today, I still want to make sure that I pre-cook these plant-based proteins because, well, they just should be cooked. I always feel a little bit better knowing that I have at least cooked some of these proteins. And yes, after I dice these proteins, I did wash my hands. Always a reminder that anytime you touch thawed or frozen or even raw proteins, whether it is real or plant based, wash your hands because you don't want the uncooked contaminants affecting your cooked contaminants. And that's the same for raw vegetables too. You want to make sure that you wash your hands after dealing with raw vegetables. All right, well, in my pot, as you can see, this chicken alternative is starting to brown a little bit. So I am going to add 6 tablespoons of melted plant-based margarine. I like to use the one that is avocado oil based. It just seems to have the most neutral flavor, and it works really well in every recipe that I've used it in. And then to that, now that we got that going, I'm going to add 9 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. So this is going to give us our roux that we want to use to make the gravy, the base for this stew. We just want to incorporate, get all of the flour in mixed in. We just want to cook that flour taste out of the flour because, there's nothing worse than the taste of raw flour. Plus, you should never eat any raw flour anyhow because it has the potential of being contaminated uncooked as anything else. All right, now that we have that kind of all incorporated, I'm going to add to that 4 cups of plant-based chicken broth. Now, how do I get plant-based chicken broth? So I like to use this brand. It's available in almost every grocery store. This is their vegetarian. It's actually vegan. No chicken bouillon. If you read the ingredients, you'll see that it's completely vegan. It even has the little vegan indicator on there. Um, but yeah, it's uh, 1 teaspoon of bouillon to every 1 cup of water. So I had 4 cups, so I put 4 teaspoons of this bouillon base into a measuring cup, and that is how I made my plant based chicken broth. If you forget and you're using this brand, the measurements for how to use it are on the top of the lid, so that's an easy way to remember. Now that this is all coming together, I have no lumps from the flour. I can see that everything is nice and smooth. I'm going to add into this my spices, which is going to be 1 teaspoon of white pepper, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of poultry seasoning. And we're going to give those a stir just to make sure that all of our spices are mixed in with the liquid. And it's already starting to become very gravy-like, so I'm going to now put my burner down on low. I don't need this to cook too much, because remember, this is going to be going into our crock pot. I just wanted to get it started. And it's okay if it looks a little thick right now, because you're going to have the moistures from our frozen veggies going into that will help thin it out. To this, though, I'm also going to add 8-ounce diced potatoes. These are half frozen hash browns. Just go ahead and add 8 ounces of those into your pot and stir. I have 10 ounces or a bag of frozen peas and carrots. I'm going to throw those in. And also 12 ounces or 1 small package of cut green beans. Now, a lot of people can find this same vegetable mixture in bags, and feel free to use those. Just make sure that it's about 20, 24, 36 ounces of frozen vegetables. I personally cannot eat corn. I don't digest corn very well, so I don't use unprocessed corn in my cooking. However, I know they make vegetable soup and stew blends, and you can use any of those if you like corn, and that would actually work perfect in this recipe. So this is what we have, everyone. We have now put together our base for our chicken and dumpling stew. So we got all of our veggies. We have our substitute chicken. We have um, what else did we throw in there? All of our veggies and our potatoes. So now it's going to be time to transfer it to the crock pot. So I have had my slow cooker on, so it is nice and hot. But here's how I get the dumplings. So remember earlier we cut up those biscuits and threw them in the freezer? Well, now it's time to get them out of the freezer. And these guys don't have to be in the freezer very long. Actually, if you put them in the freezer, prep all of your ingredients, make your base, by the time you take them out of the freezer, it'll be perfectly fine. So in my crock pot, I'm going to ladle a scoop of our mixture. And I'm going to grab a handful of my little biscuit balls, throw them in, a couple more. Then we're going to layer. We're going to add another scoop of our base, maybe 2. Some more dough balls, biscuit balls. And these were really surprisingly do cook up very well in this stew. I've used this hack for years, and it's just truly the easiest way that I've ever been able to find. to make a dumpling without actually having to sit and make dumplings. So it's all about plant-based cooking that's also easy and convenient, because if you make things too hard or we stray too far away from how people who are not used to cooking plant-based make things, they're not going to make them. So the goal of me and this channel is to simply show people that swapping out some ingredients to your favorite recipes isn't that hard, and you can actually find that they taste just the same, and in some cases even better than their original versions. So that has always been my goal, and that's why I'm sharing these recipes with everybody. All right, I'm just going to use my spatula just to get out the rest of everything here out of our pan that we just cooked in. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all she wrote. Now, I'm going to stick a lid on this, cook on high for about 4 hours. It can stay in there a little bit longer because we are throwing in some frozen ingredients. So it's perfectly fine if you want to let that set a little bit longer than 4 hours. Also, if you're cooking it and you notice that the broth is getting a little too thick, feel free to make another cup of broth and add another cup of broth if you feel that the gravy mixture is too thick and you want yours a little bit thinner. It's customizable. So I will see you all back in about 4 hours, and we're going to see, have we been fooled by plants with our chicken and dumpling stew made in a slow cooker. See you then. Well, it's been 4 hours and our chicken and dumpling stew has finished cooking in the crock pot. And as you can see, the dumplings and the biscuits worked perfectly. They cooked fully, and let's give it a taste to see if we're fooled by plants. I want to get a little bit of the biscuit, a little bit of the chicken. Everything came together perfectly. You're gonna love this homemade recipe. Chicken and dumplings, all plant-based. So yes, I've been fooled by plants. Now it's time for you to be. Go to our website at fooledbyplants.com to download this recipe. And be sure to like and share this video with your friends so that we can all start being fooled by plants. See you next time.